Alright guys, today we're going to talk about a little tool I got. Well, this is from Pridefend, I think it is. It is a Glock sight pusher. It comes with a nice little case and some Allen keys for adjustments for if you wanted to adjust the pitch of your arm, if you want to just up, down, and also the other end of this pusher tool. So basically, before we get started, I'm going to say that to all the YouTube Nazis out there that say that this will be modifying a firearm, this is not actually modifying a firearm. A lot of times these Glocks come with different sets of sights. This one actually has a set of charge up sights. They charge with the sunlight or ambient light from the room, and then that causes them to glow. But since this is predominantly a bedside table gun, doesn't get very much light at all. These are not very beneficial on here, so we'll put back the standard Glock sights on there. But again, this is not modifying a firearm. This is basically just changing the sights that came with the gun. We'll just be pushing this sight off and pushing the original sights. So if anything, it would be a unmodifying of a gun. Alright, so basically what we got here is the sight pusher. First initial thoughts is this thing is heavy. It's a chunk of steel or some kind of anodized aluminum, but it is heavy. Looks like we have padded edges for both sides of the slide. And I do like that not only do they have an adjustment screw, but they're also on this linear rod. It almost acts like a linear slide. Keeps everything, pretty straight. So basically we'll move all that out. And you do have a thumb wheel right here that moves this plate up and down. This is what will actually go up into the bottom of your slide to center on. And then basically you have a top hold down piece. Looks like this thing is pretty rounded off, so the Glock sight should fit in there pretty good. Probably will fit with a lot of your Glock sights or Glock clone like sights. We won't have to do the front because on the Glocks they actually have a screw through them. We'll go ahead and disassemble this. It is empty. Take our slide, recoil spring and barrel. And basically what I want to do is I want to protect the finish on this. It shouldn't mar it up, but I don't like to take any chances, so I'll put some tape down these three corners. Not really too worried about up in here because you get friction from the ride on the slide rails. But we'll go ahead and tape that up and get started. Alright, so now that we've got our slide taped up, I just slap some black tape. You can use electrical tape, painter's tape. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to slide this in from the rear like so, and you're going to want to be able to get that out of the way. You're going to want to be able to align your pusher all the way over to one side. So we'll move that over. And a lot of people complain about these cheaper ones. I'm going to be honest with you. This one runs about $45, I think. They have some of them that are really even fancy with some different micrometer adjustments and that go up close to 200. But for someone who's always used a punch, basically a punch and drifted them out and drifted them back in, this is something new to me. I think it'll do very well, but we will see. So the first thing we want to do is we want to line up our sight to where it will be inside the pusher. So we'll put that there, and we'll turn this up to where it holds it, right? And on Glocks, usually you go in from the right to the left on the way out and left to the right on the way in. So basically we'll want our pusher on that area there, and we'll just run this up until our sight is in that area where we're pushing on the sight and not the slide. You want to make sure you have enough clearance. You can turn down your top screw again. Put in, we've got our tape on there to protect it, and we'll just make sure everything's square. Just kind of snug it down. You ain't got a He-Man tighten it. It just needs to hold it. Alright, and then you have this one up front. You'll just turn it down to where it holds everything in place. You don't have to He-Man it. Then all you should have to do is just turn your little handle, and it'll push that sight right out. Pretty easy peasy. Now just to put the new sight in is just the direct opposite. If you have enough dexterity and room, you can slide this in there. Typically I would take the whole slide out and start this and then put it back in. We'll get that started off camera just for time's sake and show you. Alright, we've got our original sight, our standard Glock U-notch sight, put back in our started back in our frame, and we will put this right back where we had it. Previous. All right. Just kind of line her back up. And torque down our top screw so it holds everything nice and flush. And then we should just be able to reverse the operation. We need to get her started a little bit more square. and it should just push our new sight, our original sight, back into place. Okay. I will want to tell you, you want to have just a little bit of gap right here so you're not dragging this block across your slide. Then you should just be able to just crank your sight right back in to dead center. And you can take a caliper and measure each side. That looks pretty close. So now we can take and loosen our top nut, our side nut, and then we can loosen our bottom shelf, and our slide will slide right out of there. And now we have our sights pressed back in just like they should be. So my thoughts on it, it's not rocket science. Basically, you have a 4-axis, you have a fixed right hand side or left hand side, depends on which side you want to turn it around and use it on. You have a vertical that goes under the bottom of your slide. One goes at the top, so it holds it square this way. You have these that hold it square this way, and this just pushes it. Probably do a lot better than the hammer and punch method, where the hammer and punch method will get you by, but you take the risk of damaging your sight. So I think for $43, $45, whatever this was, and full disclosure, they did ask me if I wanted to pick some of their products to do a review on, and I said this one would be one of them I would be interested in looking at. But it feels pretty sturdy. Not going to say it's probably the best one out there, you know, because there's some that, but they cost a whole lot more money, have a few more options on them, maybe usable for various other ones, but this one should work on pretty much any of your Glock style sights. But for $43 versus $200, I think it's a win-win in my book. We'll keep it on the bench because I know we'll be changing out lots of sights in the future, so it'll come out and be really handy. So I think it's a pretty good deal for a little bit less than half the price of the fancy smancy ones, but it gets the job done. Kind of reminds me of like the old SKS sight pushers, but just on the new age. Some people will complain that it doesn't have these little tabs where you can mount it to the bench. I definitely don't want to take a piece of tool like this that I'm not going to use all the time, mount it to the bench, and if I wanted to use it a little bit more sturdy, I could always put this in a padded vise on my bench and use it that way, but it seems to work good enough just in your hands. But I think that'll be a good one. It does come with all the instructions of how to do it. So if you're interested in something like that, I did get it off Amazon. They're pretty quick on shipping. You know, if you order anything from Amazon, you can get it in a day or two. So, but in a pinch, I think that would work really good, especially something to keep on my bench. All right, if you're interested in something like that, go check it out. I would put the link on, but you know how YouTube is about wanting you to link stuff where you can purchase firearms or firearm equipment. So figure I'd let you go check it out, see if that's something you are interested in. It is the Pridefend Glock sight pusher tool.